So, Bionic Dance had recently done a ponage video on a guy calling himself Theodore tshoebat, a fundamentalist young man who apparently seems to have some very strong opinions about homosexuality. Now, Theodore, apparently you've made some rather interesting statements regarding homosexuality. And first of all, you stated that homosexuality was unnatural. Okay. Then you stated that a lot of folks who talk about homosexuality use the fact that within animal communities, homosexuality is actually an activity that they engage in. Okay. Well, to which you reply, well, okay, just because it may be natural doesn't mean that it's natural for humans. Because humans are not animals. They were created in the image of God. Then goes on to talk about how, where he basically states that homosexuals, he doesn't call them gays, he refers to them as sodomites because they practice sodomitism. Now, I understand. Bear with me. I'm going to get to my point on this in a moment, where he essentially says that the sodomite agenda is to promote homosexuality at the expense of Christian ideology and Christian beliefs, which supposedly this country has practiced ever since it was discovered by Christopher Columbus. Now, moving right along. Now, Theodore, allow me to help you with something, because I just want to clarify one particular point. This is just one of the points I want to clarify for you. The rest, Bionic Dance pretty much did a good job of explaining certain things to you, but I'm going to help you understand exactly what sodomitism really is. Sodomitism doesn't really have anything to do with homosexuality and the gay agenda. It honestly doesn't. If you go to the book of Ezekiel, I know I'm actually pulling out the Bible for this. If you go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, verse 49, I'm going to post a link to it down below. And I'm going to read from the King James Version, mainly because I don't know if you're one of those types that's King James only. I might read it in 2 or 3 different versions just to kind of make sure you understand the gist of it. But in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, verse 49, it says in the King James Bible, and I quote, "Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom, pride, fulness of bread, and abundance of idleness, which was in her and her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy." It sounds pretty, but somehow I don't necessarily think you're going to get the whole gist of what Ezekiel was talking about here. So let me read from the New International Version. "Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and the needy." Kind of puts things into a different perspective, doesn't it? Where Ezekiel was trying to get across to the Israelites, and just to put this in context here, starting at verse 48, "As I live, declares the Lord, your sister and her daughters have not done as you and your daughters have done. Behold, this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had arrogance, abundance of food, and careless ease, but she did not help the poor and needy. Thus they were haughty and committed abominations before me. Therefore I removed them when I saw it." Now, if we were to take that verse in context, you're going to see that the sin of Sodom was not homosexuality, believe it or not. It wasn't. It was the fact that they were arrogant, overfed, and they did not help the poor. Now, in your video regarding homosexuality, you talked about how you were glad that Russia is taking a hardline stance against homosexuals. Do you understand what that means? Because you seem to think that, oh, it's just telling them to shut up or maybe throwing them in jail for a few days. No, these people are being beaten. Think about this for a minute. These people are being beaten. These people are given stiff jail sentences. These people are being abused. It's not like here in the United States where if the police decide to crack down on something, that they'll just, throw you in court, make you pay a fine, etc., etc., and so on. No, they will kill you over there if they can get away with it. Think about it for a minute. I mean, this isn't just a matter of the gay agenda where people want this special rights and special privileges and protections. No, that's you guys. You are the ones that want special privileges where you can, force everybody else's kids to pray to your God. They're not demanding special privileges like you are, where you can have objects of your religion plastered all over the place, and if anybody else wants to have their religious iconography set up, you say no. Okay? They're not asking for special privileges like you Christians are. Alright? What gays are asking for is the same rights that everybody else seems to enjoy, especially when it comes to marriage and legal protection. The people in Russia, the gays that are in Russia, are not just being harassed, are not just being insulted. These people are being physically violated. Now, getting back to the scripture, they had arrogance, abundant food, and careless ease, and they did not help the poor and the needy. You see, Ezekiel was telling you that the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah is apathy. It wasn't gay sex. It wasn't homosexuality. It was apathy. It was pride. It was selfishness. And the refusal to help out people who are less fortunate than themselves. Does that not sound familiar to you? Think about it for a minute. Ponder this for a moment. Where before you start cheering about a country that is engaging barbaric, savage laws against a group that sins differently than you do, just remember, it could happen to you. Speaking from one person of color to another, all right? You know what it's like sometimes when you're walking down the street and you just get that really nasty feeling. And you know what kind of feeling I'm talking about? You know it, okay? You've had it on the back of your mind. That sort of feeling where people are afraid of you for absolutely no reason. You're just walking along, minding your own business, and people just don't like you. And it's not necessarily because you're a believer. You know what it's like. So I'm just very surprised that you would take such a hard stance on somebody who is just trying to have the same rights you are, that you enjoy, when not too long ago people like you would never even have imagined some of the freedoms and liberties you have now. A lot of people died for that. And now you're trying to take away rights from other people, and you're rejoicing at the oppression of somebody who sins differently than you do? Really? Is that really what you want to do? Just want you to think about that for a minute. This is Dumak the Artist signing off. Slanchini Falcha. Have a nice day.